Hey, what's going on, Mr. Dixon, aka Kelly?
Mr. Ross, what's going on, sir?
Good, man. How you been?
I've been great. Life is amazing.
Life is amazing, man. So I want to get hot right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you from, where you grew up and things like that, your background?
Sure, I'm from Long Island, New York. Place Hempstead, Baldwin area. So it's like the ghetto of Long Island, so to speak. uh, um, yeah, I went to college on a football scholarship. We know about that, right? And
Yeah.
I got into real estate actually after a failed business venture. We had started a marketing company with two other college associates of ours. We didn't make that much money, and I jumped into real estate in 2004, and it's been a crazy ride. And I've been made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, and then made it back. Was able to make it back, and now we're coasting. Life is beautiful, man.
Now, part of your story is that you are a two-time homeless person, correct?
Yeah, sleeping in the car. I have a gym. I didn't have an apartment, but I was able to maintain a $10 gym membership. Um, I didn't work out during that time. I used to work. I used to just go to the gym to shower. So I would actually go work in an office, and I would really drive the streets at night, find a place to park, sleep, um, wake up, and go to the gym to shower, and then come back to work. In fact, I mastered li- living on $5 for lunch and breakfast.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so I'll go to McDonald's. I do the dollar menu. I get two sausage biscuits in the morning, and I would get at lunch where I have two double cheeseburgers. At the time they were $1 and a small fry, and that kind of held me down. At night, maybe a quick P&J and some Roman noodles, the poor man special.
Poor man. So I know everybody who's coming in the chat right now, they're very, very curious. And
Yeah.
if you have any questions at any time, please put them in the chat. So Kelly, tell us what everybody want to know. How can we use debt as wealth? How can we use debt to generate wealth? How can we do that?
Well, I mean, if you look at the real purpose of debt from a business perspective, the purpose of debt is to generate capital, right? I think too many times, debt is associated with, oh, you have too much credit card debt, and the reality is that debt is designed to be a good thing, right? Because we're taking money and we're placing it somewhere, and we're paying that. The money's costing us, there's a cost to that capital, which is the interest rate, and we're making a profit that's exceeding the interest rate. So the purpose of debt is meant to be positive. What is transition is that people have taken debt and have purchased liabilities, things that are taking money out of their pocket. And if you haven't created an income stream from that debt, you actually place yourself in a worse position than actually, than never having it in the first place. So the key to debt is really just understanding that it's not your money, it's used to grow and invest. So if you're placing it in the right places, it'll make you wealthy.
So what I take it is that bad debt is credit cards. Tolerable debt is paying your own mortgage. And good debt is actually real estate investing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the form of debt is not as important as what you use it for. So let's take, if I have the worst credit card in the world and my interest rate is 29%, but I charge something that's going to double my money, then it's a good investment. I think too many times we get caught up with the cost of the debt, or the means of which we're taking the debt. But the reality is the mindset behind the debt. Why are you using the debt? If you're using the credit card and you're going to double your money and you're only going to pay 20%, then You can do that all day long. I mean, in business, we call that a very healthy margin. That's an 80% margin.
Hold on. So let me get this correctly. So you telling me the notion that Dave Ramsey has that all debt is bad debt is not correct?
No, that's I can't disagree more.
So let's get into some questions that I have for you. What is one of the best ways for you to look for a property to invest in?
Go directly to the owner. I mean, let's cut out the middleman. The middleman is they're making things more expensive. You know, they have to get paid, and usually they're getting paid out of your pocket, whether you paying them or not. And you know, directly, indirectly, you are paying for them. So when you speak to property owners, the one key thing is that, you know, you're saving them probably 5 or 6% just from even having a conversation. So why are you going to pay somebody to find me? I'm here. Let's do business. You know, that's really the notion. So the game plan is that how do you get directly to property owners? And information is pretty available. It's just, you know, at that point, it just becomes a numbers game. The more people you contact, and there's several ways to contact them, the more lucky you're going to get, right? And with that, you know, you choose, you know, which properties you want to invest in, and the things you don't invest in, you can sell to another investor and still make money.
I think one of the most important questions is, if I don't have any money, right?
Yeah.
I don't have any money in savings. I'm living paycheck to paycheck, but I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to own my own property. Either is buy and flip, or is buy, rehab, and rent, whatever method or strategy, but I want a property. How can I go into the real estate game with no money, right? I have decent credit, but I essentially have no money. How can I borrow money to buy real estate property?
Well, I mean, the thing about investment is that if you have decent credit, when you go to your lender, that they look. All right, so credit tells a bank a couple of things. It tells them one specific thing. When they run your credit score, they're really looking for an answer to one question. If this individual has money, are they going to pay us? Right? If you have money, are you going to pay them? And if the answer to that is yes, then you have to showcase that you're using the debt to buy income. So if you're using the debt to buy money, then for the bank, okay, they're using the debt to buy money. If they have money, they pay. So it's a good risk for us. And that's really the question that they're asking. So if you're in a position that you've shown throughout your history that you're willing to pay if you have money, then they'll lend you money to buy assets that are producing income.
So you don't
even the potential to produce income.
You don't even need to have skin in the game in order to do this.
Well, yeah. Now that you can get up to 90%, but you know, they want some skin in the game. They want some risk, but there's ways to creatively work around that if you don't have it. But what I tell people is that if you have no money, don't use your credit at first. Go find a great deal. Go find a buyer of it. Sell it to them. Do that 2 or 3 times. Now you have capital. And then use your credit to take down the 4th deal.
But I'm saying, as far as like, you know, most people when they're looking for properties, even if they don't have any money to invest in, you know, what are some of the ways you actually look for property? I mean, the most common way is hey, drive around areas where you know they're vacant, or you know, they have some abandoned buildings. Maybe that could be one way. What are some other ways to actually look for property to even go about acquiring that property?
Well, you're looking for motivated sellers. So a vacant property doesn't do anybody any good, right? The municipality's pissed off because it looks terrible, right? So the neighbors are mad. The person that owns it is not getting any value from it, right? They're not living there, they're not renting it. So they're not deriving any value from it. And you know, if you can come in and solve that problem or paint a picture that, hey, we're going to take this off your hands, and that's an excellent investment. I mean, that can be an excellent investment. The other piece is, you know, people that are in foreclosure, and there's a tsunami of them coming. So if somebody can no longer afford to pay a mortgage, or they're behind on their mortgage, most people are really concerned about their credit. Their credit is the reason they got into that position anyway. So
Exactly.
if you can show them a way where they can stop the bleeding, so to speak, and possibly get compensated, put money in their pocket, there are a lot of people that are going to listen and hear what you have to say.
Okay.
So the thing is, you need to find out what the motivation is. And people inherit property, there's probate, there's, landlord tenant, people that are tired of bad tenants not paying, vacants. There has to, the motive. Why are they selling? What's the reason they're selling? Because we're looking for value. So there's a reason that they're gonna sell it to us less than what the property can potentially be worth or what it's worth currently.
Exactly. I mean, but what is the best? I mean, for most people, I know many real estate investors have their own methodologies as well as strategies. So, what is the best real estate strategy for most people that most people can essentially pick up, understand, and go out there and actually buy a property?
I like wholesaling, to be honest with you. If you're new, if you think about it, when you calculate a return, you're calculating it based on how much money you put in, how much money you get back. So from a wholesale perspective, if I find a property, I get it under contract, it didn't really cost me anything. And if I can sell that and make a profit, my ROI is infinite. So once you do that, the best part, even the people that you're selling to, you can watch them and see what what they're doing with the property, and learn on their money, right? So now I'm being honest, like, you say, okay, this is what you do. Oh, that's who your contractor is. That's who your real estate agent is. That's, and you've kind of accumulated a team without even having to put up your own capital. And by the time you sell 2 or 3 deals, you may say, okay, now's the time I can jump in myself. You've gotten an education of somebody else's dime and you put money in your pocket. Like I love wholesale. I've done multiple 6-figure wholesales. And with very little risk. So it's a great method in order to get started and get going and learn the business.
Wow, that's really intriguing. How you can still to this day, this is one of the most electrifying conversations. Is how multiple people use debt to generate wealth and to become wealthy and rich. And some people are not just, I guess, catching on or getting it that this is very, very possible. Me myself, when I saw a couple of my friends, you included, go about raising their net worth through the same tools that you're using in order to generate wealth, is staggering. Because again, I did a video today about how rich people and people in the knowing do not pay taxes. They do not pay taxes. And matter of fact, someone like myself, I even showed on a video today how the federal government gave me almost $6 grand. And I was at a loss for my business. And people don't understand how to reinvest that money inside the business. And you count it as a loss because your debt is higher than your profit.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I pay taxes. I don't want the IRS.
Say what now?
I said I pay taxes, so IRS.
No. What I'm saying is, the way I'm talking about is it's very legal what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's very legal. The tax loopholes within the tax code. Donald Trump even said, hey, don't get mad at me because I'm smart. Because people are getting mad, but Apple, Amazon, Nike, none of them paid taxes last year. None of these corporations are paying taxes because they know how to use the tax code to their advantage.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, real estate gives you an excellent write-off. It's called depreciation. So, the irony of it is that you can take whatever profit your company is making, buy real estate. Let's say you made $1 million in profit. You could buy real estate on December 30th, and now that $1 million is gone, right? And you own this property. Let's just say the property is worth $1 million. Now you can go to a bank and say, "Can I get a loan against the property?" And the loan is not taxable. Now there's a cost to that capital, but the interest rate, 7% is a lot cheaper than 40%.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's really the name of the game. And then if you're smart enough to say, okay, well, tax advisor, but you can depreciate real estate, even commercial real estate, which is like, retail, office building, you can depreciate that over 35 years. So basically, whatever the value is. So if I buy if I buy an office building for 35 million, I can hide $1 million of income because I can depreciate that over 35 years, and that's that I could basically take $1 million in revenue and not have to pay tax on it because it's being depreciated against. Depreciation wipes out the profit. So my
Absolutely.
so and depreciation is a paper loss, it's not an actual loss. Real estate has been appreciating, as you guys probably can tell in the market. So you have that element to real estate, and most business, when they say 90% of millionaires or 100% of millionaires own real estate, they own it to to protect on taxes. There's several ways there's several things you can do. Obviously, if you have a tax professional that you can, there's ways you can maneuver your money and get it back without having to pay taxes. But to your quick
Yeah.
point, that debt is not considered income. It's considered you borrowing money. So it's not a taxable event.
So, for those who are joining us, ladies and gentlemen, around the world, brothers and sisters, right now I am talking to the CEO, also within the industry, known as the principal of Anglestone Real Estate Venture Partners.
And that's
Which is
Anglestone,
a
sir. That's Anglestone, sir. Please. It's
Anglestone. I keep saying Angel.
Yes.
Anglestone. My apologies. Anglestone.
Yes.
Anglestone Real Estate Venture Partners. Good buddy of mine, also a college buddy of mine. We're trying to give you the answer so you guys can get into real estate using debt as wealth. There's a lot of questions we're going to cover here. So again, if you're just tuning in, please get your pen and paper. He is letting out a wealth of knowledge, and this should be taken for granted. Now, here's a common question that most people have when they're going about buying real estate property. The number one question is, other than me going directly to the owner of the property, do I need a real estate agent in order to buy?
Do you need? No. There are good agents out there that do find property. But typically, real estate agents, they're making a commission on, getting the highest dollar possible for the for the owner. So, you gotta, your interests aren't necessarily in line, right? They want to maximize the sale price so they can get the highest commission. So it's not really conducive to what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the property as low as possible. So there are deals to be had through agents, but if you're the highest bidder on a property in Zillow, there's an old saying in real estate: either the smartest one or the dumbest one in the room. So you just got to kind of keep that in mind.
Here's a question for you from one of the subscribers here. Penny Stock Investor said, I bought my first house. Should I sell it now or rent it out and cash flow?
That's I mean, there's no right answer to that. It's really up to it's really up to you. I look at it like a pair of sneakers. Like, what's your need? Are you wearing them? If not, you need to sell it. But to answer your question, me personally, I don't like holding single family properties. The rule about, if it's a house, like a single family, you want to make sure that you can afford the mortgage payment, because you got to also, the part of investment is kind of understanding risk. So if you're in a position where when one person pays, you're positive, and one person pays, your net doesn't negative, anything can happen to that person. that has more units. So if if you buy a 20 unit and one person doesn't pay, you're still profitable.
Now I'm a dumb it down just a little bit because I know when it comes to economics, real estate investing, you're just one of those, Mensa geniuses guys. You have that good information. But I'm gonna ask you something very basic because
Sure.
again, we got a lot of novice, a lot of beginners who are watching this who really want to know that really basic information.
Sure.
So take for instance, I go out, I buy a property. I
Yeah.
acquire that property with the help of a bank. I either bought it with zero money down, or I had some skin in the game, maybe 5 or 10K. The house was around 80 grand. Once I buy the property, did a little bit of rehab. One basic question: how do I find somebody to rent that property? And as well as that, how do I determine the rent of that property?
Sure. I mean, at that point, an agent would come in excellent, and it differs from state to state, but here in New York, prior to some laws being passed, if a rental agent was actually paid by the renter, or should I say the rentee, right? So
Yeah.
it was basically the real estate agents will work for you for free. They'll go find a tenant or interview tenants and bring them to you. And once that property is leased, the tenant would have to pay them a broker's fee. That's a quick and simple. The other way is advertise. I mean, the internet is kind of taking out the middleman. I mean, you can just put a property on Craigslist or Zillow, and get traffic. But the agents are typically that's one of the areas I love to use agents.
Now, once I get that portion out the way, I have a tenant in there. Another question would be, is it important or should I rehab or update the rental property? Would that give me a higher level income earner, or depending on the neighborhood and environment, does that essentially depict how much the rent will be? How do I go about, understanding that?
It's definitely the neighborhood. You got to look at the factors that go into real estate, and that's when you got to pay attention to location. I don't care how excellent the property is. It's a lot. If you have a 6-bedroom, the person that's renting that usually has a family, right? And they're gonna want their kids in a good school district. So people will pay for not so good of a property that is in an excellent school district. Just to kind of throw that out there. What is it around? Is it next to transportation? Is it next to nightlife? Is it walkable? Is it walkability? Like, can I go out of my house and walk to the store, or do I got to get in my car and drive? So all of these factors kind of come into play. But the one thing I can say is never outprice the market. You don't want to put I don't know anybody here from Compton. I'm not from Compton. I've used New York places, but you don't want to you don't want to put the Ritz Carlton, in the hood. It's just
Exactly. You don't want to update the property so much where no one's going to rent it at that price anyway.
Exactly.
And that's what I guess you said with the real estate investors, where they come in because they can do the comparables, they can do the comps in that neighborhood and roughly kind of give you a generalized amount that people are paying monthly. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's websites too. You have Mashvisor. They do excellent. They give you rental comparisons. You can go on Zillow right now and just go to rental and see what things are like properties are renting for to kind of get an idea. You can go to your local MLS to see what other properties are renting for. But there's very few agents that won't take your listing for rental. Yeah.
I guess another thing to actually look about, which I know a lot of people want to know, is again, we take that $10,000. That's how much money of my personal money I put into a property. I buy this property. I rent out this property. I have a tenant. I did maybe some small updates to keep it relevant within the market. When do I start to see a rate of return? And when can I wash, rinse, repeat? Because essentially, if I'm $10,000 down of my own money and the property was 80 grand, and so I borrowed 70 grand away from the bank, then when do I really start seeing a profit on my money where I could either use that money for other things as an income or reinvest that money, let's say when you do a cash out refi into another property?
Well, the excellent point you brought up. Even if you're renting a property, you're not buying. I know people are so caught up on the Robert Kiyosaki rules, but you're really buying equity. You want to look at equity first, cash flow second. So it has to make sense on two accords. So if that 80, for instance, that $80,000 property is only worth 60,000, but you're cash flowing $500 a month, is that a good investment? To me, no. Because you're upside down. So you've basically lost 20,000. Making that investment. If you same property,
Exactly.
if it's 80,000, you're in at 80,000, but it's worth 150. You just made 70,000. So if you're making 500,000, now you can say, okay, well, I can go out and borrow 20, 30,000 against it. And just simple math, like if you were to hold that property for a year at 500,000, you're making $6,000. If you're able to pull out 30,000, you can basically do the same thing 3 more times. And if you do the math on that, not only are you, let's say you only get, instead of, I don't know, 500, you're making $400 for each property. You're still getting $1,200 in cash flow, but you've also, and on paper you've made 210,000, and that's really where the money's made. Because once you can leverage equity, you can, it speeds up, what you're looking to do. So the key metric is not only are you looking at cash flow, you're looking at equity. Am I getting it below what it's worth? When it's said and done, when I finish fixing this property, is it going to be worth more than I paid for it? And if it hits
Exactly.
that,
You're trying to cut costs with the rehab to appreciate the property value.
yeah. So if it's if you can hit that metric and it hits the cash flow metric, then you're in an excellent position. But though I only look to hold investments that provide both. If it has to meet the equity requirement, because worst case scenario, even if I get in trouble or I need cash, I can always sell. And
Exactly.
the selling,
So long as you got property, you always have money.
yeah, if property with equity, right? Yeah. So you can always sell and reap back money. Like I'm talking from experience. Before the market crashed in '08, I had a bunch of property upstate New York. And when the market dipped, the properties were still cash flowing, but there was no equity. And it put me in a very peculiar position, because I was forced to kind of just hold it and wait. And it was a position where we wanted to sell, but we couldn't. And the market, I think maybe right now is just getting back to where it was. But we're talking about 12, almost 13 years later. It's a long time to wait. So the equity is
The actual see a real return.
yeah. So
Wow.
equity is your safety net. And if you're buying correctly, you have equity, you can always get out of a deal. And that's the I don't know if I used to play Nintendo. That's like the reset button. So if you don't like it, it's reset. Let me try this again. Let me sell it and get out.
Hey guys, this is G. Kelly Dixon. I'm gonna share his YouTube page to you guys really quickly, so you can go and support him. Even though this guy, I won't tell the net amount what you're worth, but he worth a couple of million nonetheless. And he has some really good short clips on his YouTube channel and also his Instagram. So let me plug him in very, very quickly. Let me bring in his YouTube channel right here. The name of his company is Anglestone Real Estate Venture Partners. He is the CEO, also known as the principal. And if you want to subscribe to this brother channel, it is G. Kelly Dixon Enterprises. This is on YouTube, and as well as on Instagram is G_Kelly_Dixon. Right now, he has a lot of short clips and series of basically short clips in series of videos that's going to help you to understand and learn how to use credit as leverage, how to use debt as wealth. As you see some of these clips he has on his Instagram as we're going about how to use credit or leverage credit to make wealth and he has I believe it's a 3 or 4 part series, I believe. But a lot of great information. You can get closer to the real estate mogul here if you go to his Instagram as well as his YouTube page. Okay, his YouTube page again is G Kelly Dixon Enterprises. Now he also has a website. If you guys are looking for to sell property and things of that nature, the name of this website is anglestone.com. That is anglestone.com. This is a brief overview of a very robust and clean design website. Just giving you a brief overview of that. Now, let's get back to the video with G. So here's another question for you.
Sure.
Once I have that one property, and you kind of went into it, we're talking about how we, use a particular strategy and how we will maximize property. But what if I have 2 properties, right? And maybe I got into a bind. How can I maximize my investment property profits with only 2 properties and I don't have any more capital, any more debt to even use to buy another property?
Well, yeah, money's not an excuse wholesale. I mean, the name of the game is finding deals. So if I don't have, and it happens, right? Because it's a cash intensive business. So if I find a great deal, I don't have the money, I just sell it to make money.
So you will actually sell one of the 2 properties in order to get profits to buy another property or buy 2 more properties? How would you go about doing that?
I would leave those properties where they're at. If it's positive cash flow and they're making me money, I can leave that where they are, and then I'll continue to shop and find deals. And then once I find those deals, instead of me buying them, I don't have money, I'll just sell them. I'll find another investor to say, hey, this is a great deal. Give me 20,000 and it's yours. So if I can do that 2 or 3 more times, now I have money. Now I can go out on the 3rd one, I can buy myself. So it's just keeping the deal flow active. So money shouldn't stop deal flow. As long as you have
money shouldn't. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait 1 second. Money should not stop deals.
No.
Explain that.
It doesn't take a lot of money to find deals. I mean, if you got $50, you can, start, market and get deals. I mean, if there's an old Bill Gates line, he's saying if you were down, if your business was down or stagnant, and you had a bunch of, and you need to invest money, where would you put it? And he said, I put 100% in the marketing. So it's really, going out and finding deals. Listen, I've drove around, I found deals, you drive around and I mean, it was going to cost you some gas money, to go find, 20, 30 vacants and then contact the owners. So maybe one of them he says they want to sell. Now you get 10,000 and you double down on the marketing instead of you buying a suit or buying some nice clothes or that Rolex. Go do another marketing list. You do that a couple of times, you probably can easily scrape up, maybe $80,000-$100,000 and go buy 2 more properties.
I guess, once you have, like, say, for instance, 1 or 2 properties.
Yeah.
And how long do I have to wait to do a cash out refi in order to get capital from that refi so I can buy another property or use it as another investment? How long do I usually have to wait to do a cash out refi?
It depends on the lender. There are some lenders with no seasoning. There are lenders with 6 months. Rule of thumb is 6 months, but there are banks that do, no seasoning if there's equity there. Particularly if you bought it cash yourself.
When you say no seasoning, what you mean? A 1 day, 2 day turnaround?
Yeah.
Okay.
So from some, and it depends on the lender. See, some lenders are looking at it like this: if you bought a property all cash, right, and you own it free and clear, what's the difference of me giving you a 50, refinancing you at 50% loan to value, right, or 50% of what the property's worth, versus me giving you 50% loan to buy it? It's basically the same thing, right? So you have banks that'll do that without much seasoning. Like I have a deal right now. I think I owned it maybe 4 months, you know, we're pulling out a significant amount of money.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at all about real estate investment, please leave it in the chat while we have him here. Again, this is G. Kelly Dixon. He's the principal of Anglestone Real Estate Venture Partners, also a college buddy of mine and college friend. Just a lot of wealth of knowledge. Now, when it comes to buying these properties, right? Let's stay with the $80,000 example. For an $80,000 home, how much would I personally need for the closing costs and that 10 grand that I use as skin in the game, so to speak, so I can acquire that $70,000 loan? Is it part of that 10 grand, or do I have to come up with another amount of money to actually close on that property?
It's you want, all right. So typically, depending on the property value, and that's a low price. You know, you can easily, at that price, you can easily pay 10% closing costs. You know, it depends on the state, municipality, you know, whatever they charge for recording fees, taxes, title. That's in a traditional transaction. But there are plenty of closings that I didn't pay anything except maybe a couple $100. You know.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's real estate. The thing that people mix up is real estate's like anything else. It can be bought, sold, and traded just like anything else. I think what people kind of get confused is, you know, this whole financing thing. So a lot of the quote unquote requirements or closing costs are bank mandated. So if you're buying a property without a bank, it cuts down the closing costs drastically. And there are a ton of deals like that out there.
What if you just find maybe some sort of real estate investors that you can come with the same amount of money? If they're not a traditional bank, you can essentially cut closing costs?
I give an example. Let's take an owner of a property, right? They bought the property. They're 2 months behind. They're 2 months behind on their mortgage, and let's just assume that the mortgage is $1,000 a month. Now, so they're behind $2,000, and let's just assume that this property has no equity, but it can cash flow. So, you know, you can offer that owner $5,000. Okay. So if you offer them $5,000, they could put money in their pocket. That's more if they were to try to sell it on the market because they can't necessarily afford a real estate agent. And now you pay the $2,000 that they are in arrears, and they give you a quitclaim deed. So now you own the property, and let's just say hypothetically you can rent that property for, I don't know, $1,400 a month. So you've taken $7,000, you've invested it into this property. The closing costs, you're paying to record the deed. So what's that, a couple $100? Deal done. You know, and now if you look at your investment, you're in $7,000. You're making $400 a month. So you're making $4,800 over the course of a year. I don't know what percentage that is, but that's something like, you know, almost 70% return. You can do that all day long, and there's a ton of deals out there like that, particularly in this market.
Wow. Well, Mr. Dixon, I enjoyed your time with you. I enjoyed your knowledge today. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is G. Kelly Dixon from Anglestone Real Estate Venture Partners. Again, I want to show his YouTube page right here. This is his YouTube page. You should go and subscribe to this brother's channel. He has a lot of clips of information, you know, small clips, large clips, but it's going to give you, he's either going to give you his story about how he turned $2,000, again, ladies and gentlemen, $2,000 into 1.2 million. And I vouch for this guy. This is a stand-up guy. This is a college buddy of mine. So I know what he's done in real estate. He's done some very, very large things. So again, The name of his YouTube channel is G. Kelly Dixon Enterprise, and the name of his company is Anglestone Real Estate Venture Partners. If you guys want to visit his website is anglestone.com. That is anglestone.com. And you can also follow him on Instagram. And his Instagram tag is G_Kelly_Dixon, where he has a lot of short videos and a 3-part series, how to use your credit or leverage credit to make wealth. Okay, it's a 3-part series. I actually looked at it, very, very informative. And me too. I'm truly thinking about using some of these methodologies and strategies, because you know, guys, I was in the industry for about a quick hot second last year, where I was looking at 10s, 20, properties. I went to all of these contracts and lost money. That's another video. That's another time. Mr. Kelly, Mr. Dixon, do you have anything you want to say this evening?
Yeah. The one tip I can leave with this, and if you can kind of get your mindset around this, you'll be rich and eventually wealthy. Borrow money, buy income, and repeat. That's
a good question too. Let me just ask you this one last question.
Sure.
Where can I actually go and learn how to do what you're doing? How can I learn how to invest in real estate?
Sure. I mean, I have a course, it's you go to gkellyrealestate.com. So we put together some stuff. But I mean, that's the formula, that's the simple formula. And you'd be surprised how many banks will give you guys loans. Like if you have decent credit, you can go to a credit union right now, ask for $5,000-$10,000 loan, and they'll give it to you. Just, like I said, we don't buy Gucci, buy some real estate.
So you said that was gkellyrealestate.com?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look you up, brother, so we can get. So this is a very important course. He's teaching. He's made a course for you guys to follow. That way, instead of looking at this video 100,000 times and writing down every single word, he's made a course. I'm trying to pop this up so you guys know how the website actually looks.
We're launching the site next week. Spent a lot of time recording the content.
Is there anywhere that people who are watching can actually pick up the course right now, or is it still waiting to be launched next week?
I mean, it's going to be launched next week. I mean, it's we're doing a hoopla. It's we're giving the game. The intent is to help people. Like I said, I made a lot of money, and I'll make more money this year than ever. COVID was one of my best years ever.
Yeah, I know we was talking about that. And guys, listen. So you can get your hands on this course. So you can get this hands on this course. Me and Mr. Dixon is going to talk about a discount code for everybody who goes through his channel and my channel. Again, his YouTube channel is G. Kelly Dixon Enterprises. That's G. Kelly Dixon Enterprises. And again, we're trying to get a 10-15% discount. That way you guys can learn the methodology as well as the strategies. So like he said, if you do the same thing he's doing, you will be wealthy. Mr. Dixon?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Borrow money, buy income, repeat.
All right. That's it for tonight, guys. This is Financial Literacy 101. Learn money and be inspired. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. And thank you, Mr. Dixon, for all your information. I appreciate it, brother.
No, thank you for having me.
I'm out.